everyone! My name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my Transrightsreadathon reading vlog. I totally derailed. This is the vibe you get on my channel. Hi. I am here. I wanted to pop in and start this vlog. It is officially Wednesday, which is a couple days earlier than I usually start my weekend vlogs, but I wanted to start it because I started my first read of the readathon. Where did the cover go? Here it is, which is The Genesis of Misery by Neon Yang, which is a space opera, I want to say. Space fantasy, high-tech space fantasy. And I'm literally only like 20 pages in, so 26 pages in, so I don't really have opinions yet. Oh, I do have opinions, actually. Let's be real. I always have opinions. This is definitely a very intriguing writing style. Our narrator in here, the main narrator, Misery, is very interesting, and it's almost giving me I don't know if any of you have read this book, but it's My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones, and that narrator had a slightly unhinged vibe. This definitely has that vibe as well. Misery is definitely like that. They are such an intriguing character. But yes, this is my first read of the readathon. I also have The Death of Vivek Oji right there on my book cart that I am excited to read as well. And I got those two Libby holds at my library, which is very exciting. Plus, I got the notification today that there are 3 more books ready for me at my library, which is very exciting. There's gonna be Dead Collections by Isaac Fellman and the Juno Dawson book that everyone seems to be reading, and as well I have a graphic novel called Snapdragon that I put on hold as well so that I could read that. It's just gonna be me trying to pack in as many books as I can in the next few days, which is always exciting. Always exciting. But yes, I haven't been able to start before today because both Monday and Tuesday I teach in the evenings, and by the time I get home and make dinner, it's 9:30, and I just sit and I don't even read usually. So I just was not, I was like, I don't have the brain power to read right now. So that's what this vlog is gonna be. Me reading through a bunch of wonderful books and giving y'all some more recommendations, which is the usual. I hope that every single one of them is just knocks it out of the park. I'm ready to find some new favorites and just keep the love of books rolling. I'm gonna get back to Genesis of Misery, and I'll talk with you guys later. Hello friends, it is now Friday, March 24th. It's officially the start of the weekend and officially start of when I can actually actively be reading a lot for this readathon. Oh man, I've only read once this week, which is when I talked to you last, and that was for Genesis of Misery, and I'm only about 112 pages in or something. And this is definitely interesting so far. I don't know what to say about it. I'm intrigued by the politics, I'm intrigued by what's going on. Our main character though, their point of view is something so strange, and I can only harken it back to one other book that I've read, and that is My Heart is a Chainsaw. It gives me the same vibes as Jade gave me in that book, where it felt almost like you're sitting in someone's brain and their brain is full of knives and it's just a little chaotic at all times, and it feels like that in here. Yeah, I have no idea what's actually going on either. I'm only as I said, 100 pages in, but I don't know what's going on. I really don't. I know it's a retelling of something. Joan of Arc. This one here, Kate Elliott's blurb on the back says, transmute the saintly Joan of Arc into a foul-mouthed and combative protagonist, decant them into a weird and wild far future, and strap in for a wrecking ball of a ride. Which, wrecking ball is a good description for this book. So far, feels like that. And apparently there's also giant robot space battles, but we have yet to get there. So I'm gonna keep reading this. Tomorrow I'm gonna go to the library in the morning before my live stream, which I usually have on Saturdays, and grab that haul, those 3 lovely books, so that I can really dive into those. But yes, it is currently 9:30. I'm really just winding down from the week because today was a lot. This whole week has been a lot at work, so winding down. I'm watching some Dimension 20. I'm catching up on their Never After season because I'm very behind. I think I'm a month behind of their releases for this. And I also have, of course, Part of Second Story open on my lap. So I'm just kind of poking through this as I'm listening to that. And I do want to get another chunk of this done tonight, hopefully, because I don't have to get up early. I had my piano lesson tonight, which is great. So I can stay up a little later and not have to worry about waking up at a normal time or at an earlier time to get life done. So I do want to get a little bit of this done too and keep moving on it. But yeah, it's the weekend. I've just laid out kind of what I want to be reading. For sure gonna finish Genesis of Misery. Definitely for sure gonna be reading the graphic novel, which is called Snapdragon. I really want to read the Juno Dawson book that is waiting for me at the library, Her Majesty's Coven, something like that. I think the title is a little bit longer, but the Juno Dawson book I'm very, very excited about reading. I would love to get at least one of the novellas done from the audiobook novellas done this weekend as well. And I really want to get into Dead Collections because my friend absolutely loves that book and she's recommended it to me so many times, and I didn't realize it was trans until I asked for recommendations this time, and she's like, read Dead Collections, it's trans. And I was like, why have I not paid attention to the fact that it's trans? I want to read it so bad now. I'm just excited because whatever books I don't read for this weekend, I'm just gonna keep reading for as long as I can if my library doesn't have other holds on the books and stuff like that. Yes, and of course I can always get to the Death of Vivek Oji if I'm feeling something a little bit different and shorter, because it's also a shorter one. I'm just stocking up on shorter books for this weekend so I can get through a lot of them with all wonderful, wonderful trans stories and non-binary stories. That's the plan for this weekend. On Sunday as well, I've been chosen as one of the hosts for the Storyteller's Hearth, which is very exciting. The Storyteller's Hearth used to be at the Worldwide Write-a-thon, so I'm going to be hosting a social sprint on Sunday, which is going to be so exciting. I have six, how many of us are there? I have a bunch of lovely co-hosts. I can pull up the thumbnail. There's 5 other co-hosts with me, which is going to be very exciting. We're going to have lots of chat about. We have Stephanie and Amy, Laura, Rachel, and Grayson. Love it. It's going to be so fun. That's going to be my Sunday, kind of midday. It's at 2 for me, at 3 for like the scheduled time. Everything is great. I'm hoping to get a fair bit of work done on a second story this weekend because I would also really love to dive into formatting soon. I'm exactly halfway through the draft, which is great. So, and usually these last 2 parts do move a little bit quicker for me. So everything is great. Everything is wonderful. I'm still trying to read it out loud. I've been doing less of that this go around because I've been doing a lot of editing when I'm really tired at night. So hopefully tomorrow during my stream, I can start doing that out loud thing again. Keep that rolling because it just works so well, which is great. But when I'm not reading it out loud, I'm reading it out loud in my head. I'm trying to say the sentences as though someone's talking to me, like telling me the story instead of just like looking at the words, which is a little bit of a more of an active way of reading for me, especially when I'm editing. So anyways, I'm rambling. We're going to read so many wonderful books this weekend. I'm hoping to read at least 3. Let's see if I can beat that. Let's see if I can do it. Happy Saturday. I'm here sitting on the couch. I have about 20 minutes until I have to hop on for my live stream, which is exciting. But this morning I went and got the books at the library that I needed the ones that were on hold. And one of the books, actually, Snapdragon, I'm currently reading, but it is French because I got the French version. So I'm attempting to read it in French, which is something, but I'm not like really enjoying it. I don't know, like it's cute and there's like an interesting storyline, but there's a lot of stuff I'm just like, why? Yeah, I don't know. So I'm gonna finish it because it's a graphic novel and it's super quick to get through. It's not like a super favorite of mine. It's fine. But it's I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like at the beginning it's like, oh, there's a witch in our city, and then it's like, no, there's not a witch. And then for the first half of the whole thing, it's just Snapdragon, or this little girl, making friends with another girl at school who's trans, and also like kind of befriending the local like witch, who is like the kind of person who's like been like, okay, like you can help take care of these little possums and stuff, because really this witch person is actually just taking care of local wildlife and is kind of rounding up roadkill, which is a little bit much to like, you know, give the animals a proper burial after they've been hit by cars, which is brutal. And then I just got to a point where Snap is like, wait, no, magic's actually real, and like suddenly there's ghosts, and I'm just like, what? I don't know. And then there's a bit with the witch in here who's given her eye to a fox, which doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you give one of your eyes to a fox? I don't understand. So yeah, it's a little weird. It's a little off. It's a little juvenile, a little interesting. I wonder what it would be like to actually read this in English. It's actually one of the more like story thick graphic novels, if that makes any sense, that I've read. Like, it's definitely, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of storylines here. Like, there's the storyline between Snap and Lou. There's also the backstory between the witch and Snap's mom. That's also something going on. And then Snap herself is like trying to figure out some stuff. And then there's also the witch storyline. I don't know. There's a lot going on for a graphic novel, which is interesting. But yeah, anyway, so I got those. I got this one and I'm gonna finish reading that. And then I also picked up these two, which I'm so excited to get to. I don't know which one I'm gonna read first. They're both little though, so maybe I can power through. Well, Her Majesty's Coven is not, but Dead Collections is a little bit smaller. So maybe I'll read Dead Collections first, just so I have something like quicker to get through. And yesterday I got to just about the halfway mark of the Genesis of Misery, and still my points kind of stand. I'm getting a little irritated with this book. I had to go back to the beginning and read like chapter 1 a little bit just to like remind myself as to why Misery is even in this situation, because at the beginning of this book they're imprisoned and then they try to escape with these really cool powers, but then they can't escape because someone comes in, stops her, chases her down, and then she's just like, okay. But then they're like, yeah, okay, I'll be this messiah for you. And like, it's this weird, like, I don't know why Misery is even here in the first place. Like, it says that she's been brought to this place and is imprisoned by the church, essentially. The church brought her there. And then we know that they've grown up in the church because of like their mom like left her to be raised by the church, and their mom died at age 8 because of something. But there's this big gap between that like childhood and how the fuck Misery became in the situation that Misery is currently in. All this random shit happens where Misery has these powers that essentially Misery thinks that makes them void mad, essentially, but everyone else around them is like, no, this makes you actually this like incredible heroic religious figure that's going to save us all. What they need saving from, I don't know. And why Misery doesn't try to escape again, I don't know. And also there's like, now we're at a part where yesterday I was kind of wondering when like the space battles and like the mechas were going to come in. We got to that part and they're just like, yeah, let's just make this person Misery, who is we believe to be our messiah. Let's just indoctrinate them into our pilot program and just, yeah, we'll just let her be a pilot. And I'm like, what do you mean you're just going to let her be a pilot? So I'm a little irritated with this book, but I'm still not to the point of like DNFing, I don't think, but I'm not loving it. There's so much going on, but also I'm still caught up on the question of why is Misery even there? That's where I'm at. See, you got to answer these big questions. Otherwise, it's all I'm going to be focused on for an entire book. I've read a couple books like this where it's been like absolutely infuriating because like the main question of why hasn't been answered, and it just drives me batty. Anyways, so yeah, that's what I'm going to do for the rest of the day. Once my live stream is done, I'm going to just keep reading and enjoying my day. It's a bright and sunny Saturday. I'm glad that I went out and got my library books. I'm really hoping that one of them just absolutely knocks it out of the park for me. As to the 2 audiobooks that I have through my library, I will be listening to them at some point. Maybe later if I want to play some cozy games at the same time as listening to an audiobook. Who knows? I am amped to get to Her Majesty's Royal Coven and Dead Collections. Like, those are the 2 that I'm probably the most excited to get to. We'll see if I end up starting one of them before I'm done Misery. We'll see if I need a break from the weirdness of that sci-fi book. I am intrigued by the quote-unquote magic system in here. The use of like Holy Stone, which is what Misery can like channel their powers through. It's so weird. Because like it makes sense, but it also doesn't make sense at all, because there's this thing that Misery can do where it makes her like incorporeal in a way, and she can like travel through stuff, but they're like, I don't know, like Misery's just, I don't know what's going on. And they can like control the power in Holy Stone. So there's like Holy Jade, Holy something, Holy whatever. And that's what makes like people realize what she is, because there's this moment where they're in this, Misery's in this like office thing, and there's a bunch of Holy Jade, and they've never touched Holy Jade or interacted with Holy Jade. So they're like, I'm gonna just mess this up. They do. And it's this moment of like everyone being like, oh my God. No one has ever been able to access this power before, because there are people in this world who do have some kind of a power, and they're like called saints. There's a princess in here who is like that. I don't understand the princess either. The princess is so weird because princess has a stick so far up her ass that she's just rude and like almost to the point of being stereotypically and caricaturely rude to Misery. And just being like, you don't get it just because you get everything so easy to you. And I'm like, shut up. Be an actual person for once, you know? Anyways, I'm just rambling about this book now. We'll see how the last half of the book goes. Yes, I'm gonna see if I can get a little bit more done of Snapdragon before I jump on my live, which is now in 15 minutes. So I'll catch you a little later. Hello friends, it is now a little bit later. It's 11:15 at night. And I want to pop in and say hello because I haven't talked to you since this afternoon. I just finished a second book of today. So earlier when I talked to you, I'm gonna move my chip bag so it doesn't make noise. So earlier when I talked to you, I was reading Snapdragon, which I then finished, and this was just okay for me. Maybe it was me reading the French, but the story was weird in a way of like, there was aspects to it that I didn't love, so that was interesting. And also, it was written by a white person, and the main character, Snapdragon, is black. So I found that a little weird. I'm just a little off. But I guess you could argue that the other main character of this is white, so like, it's fine. But yeah, I don't know, there was just something off about it. Maybe it was because I was reading it in French, but even then, like I did really enjoy a few of the storylines, and I was wrong before. It wasn't the backstory between the witch that Snapdragon befriends wasn't between the witch and Snapdragon's mother. It was between the witch and Snapdragon's grandma. So I was wrong. I found the aspect of magic in this very odd. I don't know why it was introduced so late into the book. It should have been introduced from the beginning, even because at the beginning it said that there's a witch in our land, but magic isn't real. And I was like, great, okay, magic is real, obviously. But then we read like half of the book and there's not a single instance of magic in it. And then all of a sudden it just smacks you in the face with magic, and then there's ghosts and stuff. I don't know. It was just fine. I don't know. It's probably gonna get like a 2 or a 3 star maybe. I'll run it through Claw Pile. Unfortunately, this one just didn't do it for me, but it might do it for you. And I really liked the trans rep in this. It was so sweet. Lulu is precious and I want to protect her with all my heart. So I really liked that aspect of it. And the art was okay. Very bright, very colorful. But then I ended up picking up Dead Collections by Isaac Filman, and I loved this. This was so good. Oh my god, this was so good. My friend warned me. She was like, because this is one of Sophie's favorites, and this was her recommendation to me for this readathon. And previously she's told us all to read this book many times, and I haven't listened to her, and I should have, because obviously she's got good recommendations, because I loved this. It is like, she warned me beforehand it was a little weird and a little interesting, and I was like, I'm down for some weird. I can do weird if it's done right. This is done right. This was made for me, because our main character Soul, he plays piano, and there's some like passages in this speaking about playing piano and being really good at playing piano, and just the way that it was described, I was sitting there like, yep, and I just kept nodding along, and even a few times I said out loud like, yep, you're right. Like, it hit so hard. And then the story of this was so fantastically done. God, I want to reread this. I want to get my own copy and reread it and annotate it and really think about it, because it's a book that demands that. Because there's so much to say about transness in here, and otherness and gender on its own. And then you tie it back to the actual aspect of vampirism in this book. I don't think I told you what this is about. So this is about Soul. He lives in his office illegally in his underground because he can never see the sun because of vampirism. He was infected. In this world, vampirism seems to be just kind of like another disease. But he lives in this archive, and he is an archivist. At the beginning of this book, he receives this woman who's bringing her late wife's collection in and like donating it to the archive that he's working at. It has a name that I've completely forgotten because my memory is a sieve. The Historical Society of Northern California. That's what it is. She brings us in, and Elsie is this really bright, lovely flame of a woman. And instantly, Sol and Elsie kind of hit it off. And then this begins their romance. And it is so lovely because not only is it a tentative romance that's dealing with grief because her wife just died, it's a romance dealing with understanding yourself and understanding yourself with others, and then understanding gender in relation to yourself and others. It's just, and there's so much going on in here. This deserves a reread because I need to study it. This was so good. Thank you, Sophie, for this recommendation. This was wonderful. Okay, so that means I've got 2 books down for the readathon, and I low-key want to start the Coven book right now, but I should probably get another chunk through the Genesis of Misery, which I'm just not enjoying. And it's making me so sad. But it's like to the point of like, I'm in the middle of wanting to DNF it or not, and I'm not going to because I'm still interested in the story and I need to know things and I need to have the questions answered, and if they're not answered, I'm gonna be really mad at this book. But like, I'm in the middle of it being like, I'm not actually enjoying my reading experience all that much anymore. Like being in this point of view is a little difficult to follow. As I kind of explained earlier, it feels like you're in a main character's head with knives. I rescind that. It feels like you're in a main character's head with very overly bright neon signs packed in too tightly. Like, that's what being in Misery's head feels like. And it's a lot. It's a lot, but I'm going to start reading it now. I'm going to keep reading it. I'm about halfway through, so we'll see how much more of this I can get done. No, I'm not enjoying this one very much. Maybe I will DNF it. I'm gonna give it another chunk of, no, I can't DNF this book. I'm intrigued by it. Oh God, I'm in this like dilemma. I'm 200 pages in. DNFing it now would make me feel sad, even though I'm a big purveyor of DNFing. It would just make me feel sad because I'd be like, well, what if something happens and it becomes really great? Which is what I usually hate when people say, because life is too short to read books that don't make you feel happy or that you're actually enjoying. But like, it's not like I'm not enjoying the read. I'm gonna keep reading it. I've got Gab Smulders on the TV with her Stardew Valley shenanigans. I'm on episode 9 now. Having this on in the background is amazing. It's so good. But yes, I am going to keep reading and I will let you know my feelings tomorrow probably. And with that, friends, I skimmed the last 200 pages and threw it away. That was not... It just wasn't good. It just wasn't good. And I'm so mad about it because it had the capacity to be so good. I just, characters were so flat. I can't even put a pinpoint on it. I think somewhere it's compared to Gideon the Ninth, and I want to rip that comparison out of whoever's hands decided that was a comparison, because no, that book is amazing and this was not even close to it. This book tried so hard. There were so many colloquialisms in the prose. Like, it's gonna age so badly because it was using like words and stuff that we use today and like slang and stuff like that. And it was trying to be too cool. So I read a meh book. I read a fantastic book. I read a disappointing book today. And for like, this cover is gorgeous. I'm so mad about it. So this is the second book this year so far that I have been physically mad about when I'm done reading it. You know, this one and Kaikei were just disappointments to me. I wanted to love them both, and I came out feeling apathetic about both. That's done. All right, we're gonna hope that this one is better. Am I gonna start it tonight? I don't know. Maybe, potentially. I'm in like such a reading mood. It is midnight and I would just want to keep reading. I have finished 3 books today. 3. How? I couldn't tell you. Maybe I should go into a second story again and continue editing that for a bit. Or maybe I should just sit here and chill out and watch the rest of this episode of Gab Smolder's Stardew Valley. Maybe I should get Stardew Valley and play it. I have my Switch. I need to calm down. That book made me mad. No, I don't want to be mad at a book. It didn't like, it's not a bad book. You might love it. You might love how kooky and weird the narration style is. You might absolutely love how insane of a narration it is and how just full throttle throwing you at a nebula this book is. So definitely try it if it at all sounds interesting to you. Because, you know, books that just don't work for me really, really work for other people and vice versa. Like one of my friends couldn't get through Gideon the Ninth, and yet that is probably one of my favorite books of all time. Not probably, is one of my favorite books of all time. So, you know, opinions differ. But anyways, what a Sunday. I don't think I have the emotional capacity to go edit a second story now, so I'll leave that for tomorrow. But you know what? I might pick this up and start reading this. We'll see. I'll let you know tomorrow. But for now, good night. Hello, my lovely friends. Happy Sunday. I just finished the live stream for the Storyteller's Hearth, which was so much fun. I got to chat to Laura and Stephanie and Amy and Grayson. It was just so lovely. And we just had, I don't know, such a good conversation, you know? And the time just flew by, which was so great. And got some stuff done too, which I wasn't expecting, because when I co-hosted on a stream last year for a social stream, I really didn't get that much done because I was so just preoccupied with being in the moment of the stream and stuff like that. So I'm glad that I actually got some stuff done. I've worked on a second story, of course. What else would I work on? And I'm currently on the second last chapter of part 4 of this read through. Things are going good. That was lovely. That was wonderful. And now I feel exhausted and my jaw hurts from smiling because it was just that much fun. What did I do today? Oh yes, I didn't even say. This morning I ended up listening to all of the audiobook for Finna, which was definitely something interesting and weird. And something that I still have to wrap my brain around, to be entirely honest. I don't really know what to make of it. It was I want to say like a portal fantasy, kind of like in a fictional IKEA, where 2 workers end up having to go track down a lost grandma of one of the shoppers who lost their grandma in the store. And they end up going into this world with like a tracking device, and it just gets weirder from there. It was definitely interesting to listen to. I don't really know what I'm going to rate it. I'm probably going to have to think about it for a little while before I do. But yeah, so I finished another book today. I accidentally sent Sorrowland back in the library because both Sorrowland and Finna were blue covers. I wasn't paying attention hard enough. When I was returning Finna, because I had finished it, to the library, I accidentally returned Sorrowland. So now I have to wait a few weeks before I get my hold in for that one. So I can't listen to that audiobook today, which is so sad because that's what I was going to do now. But instead, I'm going to keep going on the Juno Dawson book. I did read 50 pages of last night. I'm really liking it. I have the audiobook for it, and the audiobook is really good. It's got an Irish narrator, and the accent is just so soothing. I love it so much. That's been my day so far. I'm going over to Mom and Dad's later for dinner, as always. Probably in the next like 15 minutes, I'm gonna leave. Yeah, what a good day. I always love talking with people, especially on the internet, like just like people who are in the writing community and in the bookish community. I love it so much, which is why I started my podcast, you know, so that I could talk to people like that more often. Definitely a good time, but I need to clean up some of my snacks that I was having during the stream. I'm gonna get myself together and wind down a little bit before I go to Mom and Dad's, but I will probably catch up with you guys a little later. But I think for now, I'm gonna kind of just unwind, sit on the couch for a little bit longer, and then head to Mom and Dad's. And then come back later and get some more writing done because Amy has a stream going on later today as she usually does at 8:20, and I want to see if I can get through the rest of part 4 of a second story today so that I can keep boogieing on. But anyways, I'll catch up with you guys later. Hello friends, happy Monday. It's the end of the day. Obviously it's like 10 p.m. but I wanted to pop in because I just finished reading Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson and I feel betrayed. It was so good. But today I was on Indigo and I went to go and look at the second one in this trilogy that's coming out very soon this year at some point. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna go like pre-order it. And then I looked at the description and the very first line is the biggest spoiler of this book ever. And I read that before I had finished the book. And so I spent the last however long I was reading just now, just nervous as all hell for that spoiler to come true. And I feel so betrayed. I'm so mad. Juno! No! But I'm low-key glad that I was spoiled in a way, because if I hadn't been spoiled, I would have full body screamed having read that. Like, it's one of those like last page twists. I haven't read a last page twist in a really, really long time. Damn. All right. Well, I loved this. This was great. I highly recommend. This was such a good time, and I will be considering this series when it comes out, because now I need to know what the hell is going to happen. If you read this, you know what happens at the end. I'm so mad about it. Theo and Neve are my favorite in this. They are so wonderful. I didn't even tell you what this is about. Oh my god. So this is about a friendship group of witches who, when they were like young, I don't know, like 12 years old, done of their adolescence, who knows, they all became witches and indoctrinated into Her Majesty's Royal Coven. Then, like, you know, skips forward about 20 years and some crazy shit has gone down. The girls are all in different places. There's one, Helena, who's at the head of everything. Neve, who's pretending to be a vet. Leonie, who has started her own inclusive intersectional coven called Diaspora. Elle is trying to pretend that she's not a witch, but her daughter is just starting to show signs of being a witch, so now she has to deal with that. Just all this stuff is happening, and then this prophecy comes to pass where Helena needs to get the gang back together, essentially to try and figure out what's going to happen, because there's this prophesied child that is going to bring about ruin for the world, essentially. And Neve meets this child that they think is going to bring about, they call him the sullied child, and she's just like, this is a kid and I must protect this kid at all costs. So she actually takes Theo home with her and just like is the perfect pair for Theo, and like starts teaching Theo how to control his powers and all this kind of stuff. And Theo ends up being trans, and she's just the most lovely, sweet. I just want to protect Theo at all costs. And Neve and Theo are just my favorite ever. I'm so mad at Juno now. I am so mad. It's unreal. Anyways, so yeah, I finished that, and it is officially the end of the Transrightsreadathon. We love it, but I think I saw Sim, who is the creator of this. I think I saw one of their TikToks yesterday, I think, where they were talking about how like they're just gonna, a bunch of creators are just going to keep reading trans books until the end of the month, which is, I believe, Trans Rights Visibility Day, something along those lines. So that's very exciting, which is great because I have a couple more holds in the library that haven't come through. So I will try and read more as well as we get on to things. But it's been a pretty good weekend, I think. I ended up running everything through Copile today, except for Her Majesty's Royal Coven, but that's gonna get at least a 4-star. We'll just go through it. So Snapdragon, which was the first book that I finished for this readathon, gets a 2.5 star. Just really didn't do it for me, unfortunately. It might do it for you though, if you're at all interested in that little graphic novel. And then Genesis of Misery gets 2 stars. Really didn't do it for me. You all know my thoughts. Dead Collections gets 4.5 stars, and I think upon a reread it might even get a 5-star, but it's not quite a new favorite, and that's what my 5 stars are. So this is 4.5 stars. It is fantastic and will be reread. And then Her Majesty's Royal Coven, probably a 4.5, probably a 4-star now that I've come to the end of it. But really enjoyed it. And oh, I also listened to Finna by Nino Cipri or Kipri. I'm not entirely sure how to say their last name. And that one I ended up giving 3 stars. It was kind of middle of the road for me. It was a little weird, and I almost wanted it to be scary as we were going through. I don't know why. It was odd. It was very odd, and I think that's the point of it. Sometimes weird books just don't work for me. Anyways, my friends, that brings us to the end of this reading vlog and the Transrightsreadathon. What a happy coincidence. I will catch you guys in another video very soon. Stay kind and keep on reading.